Welcome to another issue of the Bachelorette commentary by me, I Have Issues. Let's start with the beginning. The group date. We're still at South Carolina with the alligators, and Kenny wants to have another talk with Lee, and Kenny is just digging his own grave, because if he would just leave it alone, then it wouldn't give Lee any reason to keep doing it, because Lee's doing it to get Kenny upset. So Kenny needs to just back away. One thing that's really kind of icky about Lee is the fact that he talks when somebody else is talking, especially when they're upset. You know, he stood there and listened very quietly when Will was trying to talk to him, and it's because I guess he doesn't feel threatened by Will, which he should, because Will's a much better man. But anyway, getting back, he just manipulates Kenny and talks at him, and just makes me sick. I do like the way Kenny did walk away from Lee that time and gave me his new name, which is Snaky. So Lee, you are now Snaky. One thing Kenny has really wrong is to feel sorry for Lee's parents, because I bet you Lee is a product of his parents. And, you know, maybe I'm wrong, and, you know, that's entirely possible. But probably Lee's parents are not over there in Tennessee thinking, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed by my son's actions. No, they're probably hitting back the beers and going, woo! So Kenny, you know, it's pointless. Kenny, it's pointless. I want to comment on the Oreo Thins commercial. To me, there's no point in having Oreo Thins. Oreos are famous because of the stuff inside them. You know, the stuff. The cream filling, whatever you call it. Nobody wants an Oreo Thin because you might as well just have 2 chocolate flat cookies. And that's boring. Seriously, Oreo company? Put the cream back in. Otherwise, it's just a slab of dry cookie. Let's move on from Oreos to Jack's date. Boy, I don't know about anybody else, but I was so uncomfortable watching that scenario play out, because, I mean, you could tell Rachel was not into it at all, or into him, and I felt sorry for him, and yet he really creeped me out, the way he would just keep smiling and staring at her, and he talked about locking the door and their first date being in bed talking. Come on. You know, that's stupid. Anyway, I'm sorry he was sent home, but I'm glad he was sent home. So, again, I have to talk about Lee. He makes all these statements that are absolute falsehoods, and they're opposite of what is actually happening. So him saying, I'm tired of stepping back, you know, I'm being the good guy, and Kenny is just so violent, and he just keeps coming at me for no reason. It's like, oh my God, he's a psychopath, or a sociopath, or a psychosociopath, if that's even a word. Another thing about Jack was how much he talked. It was really irritating, you know, and I know that's why they have him talk. But, I mean, he just kept going on, and I guess it's because the audience knew that he was on his way out, but that made it so frustrating to listen to him. But I was getting tired listening to him. I thought it was hilarious that Lee said he was going to pray for Kenny. I ran into that a lot in the South, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the South, for the southern states. Just my experience, okay, just me. I ran into a lot of that holier than thou kind of stuff. You know, it's like you trip, you put out your foot, and you're this guy's or girl's coming along and you can't stand them or whatever, and they trip over your foot, and they get mad because you tripped them, and you say, "Oh, I'm gonna pray for you." Stop it. I'm sorry. I'm laughing so much. Okay, now back to the Bachelor. Oh, okay. Brian's date. First of all, I want to go to Norway. That place looks amazing. But I'd love to go in the winter when there's a lot of snow. But I'm confused about that ski jump. First of all, it was really cool how they went up like this elevator thing, and standing up on top to me would not be cool. But they called it a ski jump. And is that how much snow Norway gets, where the snow comes up that high? Or am I confused about what a ski jump is? I mean, maybe the snow is down really low and that's why it's a ski jump, because you jump anyway. I'm still laughing about the other thing. Okay. Brian's date. Brian seems like Rachel says, very charming, and he's sexy, and you know, they have a wonderful time together, but he's not saying anything real. He's not saying, I like to have cornflakes in the morning. He's not saying, I go to work from 9 till 3. Or, I like this, I have a favorite restaurant in Chicago I love to go to. I can't wait to take you there. There's nothing real, there's nothing substantial. It's just him showering her with his charm. And like she said, there's something that's missing, and she still didn't get it at the end of their date, yet she gave him the rose. So she's giving him some more time because she really wants to figure him out. The other thing about Brian that concerns Rachel is he seems too good to be true. He seems perfect. And let me tell you, there's nothing ever perfect except jelly beans. Another thing Rachel needs to really pay attention to is when Brian talks about his former girlfriend, how they were together for 4 years, yet he didn't propose in that time, and that he found himself deflecting from her. I'm not sure. Oh yeah, I think it was when she would get serious, he would kind of back away. You know, that just because he's on The Bachelorette doesn't mean all that is gone. So she needs to pay attention to that. I have an idea for the producers of the show. Could you maybe spend a little less time showing us previews of what's coming next, and use that so that you cram more filming in, rather more current thing? Just show us the dang show and stop continuing everything to the next day. Although I'm not complaining that tonight is another Bachelorette show. But, you know, the group date with the Vikings. Boy, they were having fun laughing at our guys. Why was Dean's jockstrap on the outside? I really hope he did that to be funny, but I think Rachel missed it. I don't know, maybe they should have made more of a joke if it was really a joke, because I was like shocked. I didn't know what he was doing. If it was a joke, it was it was pretty funny, but there wasn't enough information to know if it was a joke or not. When Will talked to Rachel, that was perfect. And yeah, a lot of the guys will share a moment in their life that was really devastating or whatever, but Will seems so genuine, and hopefully Rachel will lean toward him because he's handsome, he's approachable, he seems even keel, like he's not like really angry at anybody, and he tries to talk to Lee, he talks to Kenny. He's kind of like the mediator, and he was just very real, and I'm looking forward to hearing more conversations with him to see if he adds in real life everyday stuff so she can really get an idea of what it would be like to be with him. I think Josiah's on his way out. Didn't he? Now I can't remember. Did he not get a rose? Did he get a rose? If he did get a rose, he shouldn't have gotten a rose. So I'll have to look through or I'll just wait for one of you guys to tell me. But I don't like him. I think he's just kind of shifty. I don't trust him. What was with the hot tub thing? You know, that was a group date, and I thought it was tacky that Rachel takes Peter into the hot tub and they have a makeout session, and when they come back to the group, the guys are just sitting there, and somebody said, "You've been gone like for 3.5 hours." And I'm wondering if that wasn't, you know, actually the time they were gone. And no matter how long they were gone, it was too long. You know, the other guys are just sitting there, and it wasn't a one-on-one with Peter, and I didn't like that she did that. And Peter not getting a rose, I mean, come on, dude, you were in the hot tub with her all that time, and you know, if you would stop and think, it's very possible that you didn't get a rose because she's confident in what you have, and she wanted to give a rose to somebody to reassure them how she feels about them. So, you know, don't worry about it. Jeez. Another very real and genuine guy is Kennedy. Kennedy. Who's Kennedy? Kenny. The 2-on-1 with Lee and Kenny and Rachel. Kenny talked about what his life with Rachel would be like. That's what I'm talking about. That's the real conversations that need to happen so that Rachel can figure this out. Lee talked about Kenny. So hopefully she gets rid of Lee at the end of this date. And Lee better start running, because when somebody gets mad enough that they start laughing, which happens to me a lot, well, not a lot, but anyway, when the person starts laughing, that's the time you run. And Lee is just sitting there, but Kenny is laughing because Lee has just told her a bunch of bold-faced lies. And thank goodness Rachel pulled Kenny aside to tell him. Hopefully she'll see through all this crap. But we'll know in a few hours, so I will videotape again tomorrow about tonight's show.